Hey everyone, this is Tim Olson, your host for the 10 Commandments of Leadership. This is the program, this is the podcast, 5 days a week, where we focus on two primary objectives. Number one, we seek to educate, equip, and empower emerging leaders with God-thought leadership. And the second ingredient is we seek to present current events and newsmakers in the light of best practices from the Bible. We're glad you're with us. We're glad you're joining us either on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And we've got a special message for you today. Let me just share a couple of things with you. Let me pull up my trusty script here. Our message today is entitled The Hidden Weight of Being an Example. The hidden weight. I'm glad you've carved out a few minutes today to breathe, to reflect, and yes, to recover. Today, we're talking about that invisible backpack that every executive, every founder, every principal, every pastor, and every parent eventually notices, usually after the straps of that backpack start cutting into their shoulders. I call that backpack being the example. And inside it are bricks, that's right, bricks, labeled never falter, never doubt, never blink. The quiet weight that we carry. If you hold positional authority, you already know your silent job description. Be the calm in every crisis. Be the answer in every ambiguity. Be the spark in every morale dip. It's a beautiful calling until it becomes a performance. Because on that day, your interior world looks like a sock drawer after an earthquake. The show still must go on. You straighten up your posture, paste composure onto your face, and recite those familiar lines. I'm good. No worry. We've got this. Week after week, month after month, that mask begins to calcify. It stops being a leadership tool and starts being a psychological straitjacket. Eventually, it even hurts just to breathe. Let's put a name on that mask. I call it ego-holism in disguise. Here's where ego-holism sneaks in wearing a three-piece suit. Ego-holism, remember, is an excessive or distorted sense of self, and distortion swings two ways. One way that it swings is with the inflated ego. I must always project strength. Applause and praise, those are my oxygen. And weakness will dethrone me. And then there's the deflated ego. If people saw the real me, they'd walk out. So I'll stay tiny and silent, yet still flawless, so I think. Different stories, yes, but the same lie. Vulnerability will cost you credibility. That's the lie. So you suppress, you isolate, you overfunction, and eventually you burn out. And what is burnout? Is it doing too much, or is it pretending too long? Most burnout seminars hand us timesheets and productivity hacks and yoga mats. Helpful, yes, but many leaders aren't simply tired from the quantity of work that they do. They are really exhausted by the quality of having to pretend. Pretending that every email ping is welcome, pretending we never second guess $1 million decision, pretending we didn't sleep 3 hours last night because that IPO, that merger, that lawsuit, or that teenager kept replaying over and over in our heads. Burnout isn't just overactivity. Burnout is overacting. Therefore, ego-holism recovering is a leadership lifeline. Ego-holism recovering is a leadership lifeline. So what's the antidote? not ego eradication. Why not? Why not? Because ego is God given as a sense of self. The antidote is ego-holism recovering, a disciplined, ongoing practice of right-sizing the self. It's a three-part rhythm. Three-part wisdom. Number one, target the problem. Hold up the mirror. Identify the distorted beliefs. I can't ask for help. I must outwork everyone. Rest is for the weak. That's targeting the problem. Second part is own the problem. Step into the courtroom. Accept responsibility without self-flagellation. The goal isn't guilt. The goal is clarity. And part three, after we've targeted the problem and owned the problem, then P, proceed to action. That's the green light. Start small. Delegate one decision. Share one honest sentence in tomorrow's staff meeting. Schedule one afternoon off. And keep that promise to yourself and your staff. That's the TOP, the top pre-step. And then after targeting the problem, owning the problem, and proceed, then come the 7 transformational steps you've heard me teach. Number 1, glance back quickly. 2, dig deeply below the surface, and so on. But today, let's just stay with those 3 pre-steps. Most leaders never get past step 0 because the mirror terrifies them. Let me share with you 3 stories with one central pattern. Story number 1, I call it the conference collapse. A CEO that I coached flew straight from a red eye into a keynote slot. Minutes before going on stage, she whispered, "If one more person calls me unstoppable, I might actually stop right here." She delivered a flawless talk, stepped off stage, and then broke down in tears. Her burnout wasn't from miles flown. It was, in fact, from months performed. Story number 2, I call it the pastor's parade mask. A megachurch pastor, beloved, articulate, visionary, used humor to hide clinical depression. The congregation saw charisma. His family instead saw numbness. When he finally preached a sermon titled "The Day My Smile Broke," attendance dipped for 2 weeks. But then it soared. Why? People finally had permission to be both faithful and fragile. And then story number 3, the parent with the superglue shoulders. Closer to home, think of the single mom or dad who's the example to teenagers. Bills stacked, career in flux, but every morning, lunch is packed, smiles secured, kids learn resilience, but also risk learning repression unless that parent sometimes says, "Today was hard. Let's debrief over pizza." In each story, the breakthrough began when the leader traded perfection for honesty. Again, the breakthrough began when the leader traded perfection for honesty. And here's why honest strength beats performative perfection every time. You see, honesty humanizes. People follow leaders they can emulate, not leaders who intimidate. Honesty multiplies capacity. When you admit limits, others rush in with their gifts. Shared load, shared glory. Honesty inoculates successors. If emerging leaders only witness polished outcomes, they crumble at their first cracked moment. Show them the stitches behind your couture. Practice micro releases for the week ahead. Let's translate theory into Monday morning moves. Okay? Let's practice theory. Let's translate theory. Choose one. Either the 90-second confession. That's one option. Start your next team meeting with a brief learning from your own mistakes this week. Notice how tension drains from the room. Then there's the other option is the two-seat delegation. Hand off a decision you normally clutch. Yes, risk is real, but so is relief and development. Then there's the calendar truth bomb. Block 1 hour labeled strategy nap, thinking walk, or therapy. Your assistant might tease you once. Next week, they'll book their own. That's leadership. Silent Slack Saturday. Declare one digital Saturday Sabbath day. Watch anxiety rise, then watch creativity return. The ripple effect, redefining the example. Imagine an organizational chart where the example means equipping more than exhausting. CFOs model margin, not martyrdom. Principals model partnership, not omniscience. Parents model confession, not constant competence. The next generation inherits a realistic template for leadership. Strong, yes, but also sustainable and surrendering. Spirit-led. Where am I most tempted to perform rather than lead? What's one truth I'm avoiding because I fear it will crack my authority? Who in my team could rise if I handed them the mic for a moment? When did I last model healthy weakness? Rest, therapy, a public apology. Hit the pause button, ponder, share with a confidant. Transformation travels faster in community. And here's my closing charge to you. Burnout begins its retreat the moment the leader releases. Release relentless responsibilities. Release solo control. Release the illusion that strength means silence. Ego-holism recovering isn't a silver bullet, but it is a silver path, shining just enough light for the next courageous step. So as this week winds down, take off that invisible backpack. Give yourself some oxygen. Gift your team with authenticity, and gift the future a leadership model rooted in humility, humanity, and hope. Because the world doesn't need flawless examples. It needs honest ones. Leaders who say, follow me, not because I'm perfect, but because I'm recovering, learning, and inviting you to do the same. Stay curious. Stay humble. And I'll meet you back next week. Lighter, freer, and a little less egoholic. If you're willing to do that, then so am I. I am not recovered. My wife will tell you. But I'm on that pathway out of the woods. Come join me in my escape. Thank you. Have a great weekend. I'll see you again on Monday. Bye-bye.